Okay, let's take a call. Volume up.
Hi, this is Lifeworks Live.
Hello, life outside. My name is Murray Brass. I'm a person with disabilities. Now, my life has been very, very difficult. I've lived a life of discrimination against disabled people.
Mm-hmm.
I've also been discriminated by other people around the society in this society of Lethbridge, and it just hurts my feelings that people don't recognize who I am, and it just hurts.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And it hurts me really bad that I was given a job opportunity at another place in the city,
Mm-hmm.
and they decided to discriminate me because I gave a family member a hug. And they don't understand that it's not a criminal act to give somebody a hug, even if it is family. And it just hurts me that I'm living a life with people that just like to discriminate, and it just keeps hurting and hurting.
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
Great. So give us a chance to answer that. So what we hear you saying then is the discrimination is holding you back, like in your life, what you experience in society.
Correct.
Okay. So what we could share with you is, and what we've talked about on all of our shows, is that we want to help empower you to find your self-worth here and not take it so personally what other people view you as. But it's more important for you to view yourself as a valuable, lovable, worthy person in society who's willing to give love and receive love in a healthy way. And, we understand how hard that can be. But the job for you maybe is to look at yourself and say, okay, I'm going to take responsibility for this, and I'm going to work on me, because we can't change anybody else. We can't. We are the only ones we can change ourselves. Mm-hmm. And so if somebody's judging you, that's their problem, not yours.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what makes it more worse is that in this society, you're only given a chance and then it's over. But I think if society changed if society could change in somebody's life, I think it would be better for them to have a life of love and respect.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Well, I think society is slowly changing, but unfortunately it's a slow process, and it takes brave people like you to step up and say, hey, let's look at this, and everybody has to look at themselves, and how do you view people with disabilities and their abilities, and will you give them a fair chance to show what they can do?
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad you're answering my call, because this is really helping me. But in this society here, especially in this part of Alberta, we people with disabilities are being blamed for things that we have never done in our lives. People have brought us into their attention in their society to really break society of disability people. For instance, my company has lost almost 40%, almost 90% of my workers, and it's getting really hard now because I see all my workers with other clients from other companies, and nobody is telling my society, how to react to this. And I'm not trying to be rude or anything. I'm just trying to make a point that, please, people of this society of Lethbridge, if you're hearing my voice,
Mm-hmm.
want you to help disabled people. I don't want you to leave them behind and tell them that they're not wanted, because we are society. We are people from other walks of life, countries, and it's just not easy.
Yeah, I hear you loud and clear. And I think it takes a whole society to support everyone, that there's something that holds them back, if it's multicultural, or what you're able to do or what you're not able to do. It's
Right.
raising our children to believe we're all equal. We're all here on this planet to serve each other,
And we all have value.
no matter what.
That is one of the problems with society, is that people want to get their value from what they can accomplish, or they see people's value in what they can accomplish, when everybody has value regardless of what they can accomplish. It's not.
Would you agree with me, though, that if society was the way that it is now, do you think society would have been much easier a long time ago than it was now? Because what I'm thinking is, I went to the university. I'm not going to say the radio station I work for, because I don't know if anybody from there works for you guys, but it happened two times that I gave family members a hug and they kicked me out. But they think it's okay to have society at the university to discriminate people from other countries and disabled people, and not let them have society have the right to speak up on what has happened. And it's the society of the city has not been easy. People who do drugs die. People who open up cannabis stores. People who are young, find needles on the floor in schools and they use it. And it's the society, and it's just not easy for disability people to live in. And my point is, as a person with disabilities, it's not fair to us disabled people that people think that we are bad people in judgment. And the society, I'm not just saying this here, but I'm saying everywhere else around Alberta, people are being judged for different reasons. But if somebody in the city had the guts to stand up for disabled people more, then I think the society would be more easier,
I agree.
And I think there's people out there that are standing up. It's just that it's for society as a whole, it does take time for things to shift.
And I would say it's a lot easier today than it would have been 10, 20, 30 years ago. I believe there's a lot more rights and privileges for people of all backgrounds and abilities. Right? That's a for sure. That's a for sure.
Right.
Because there's inclusive programs in the schools. I mean, there's, everybody has access to everything in the city, no matter what your ability or disability is.
And unfortunately, that doesn't stop some individuals from discriminating in whatever way they feel because of what their beliefs are. But certainly, there's lots of advocates out there too. So
Correct.
you have to look at both sides and recognize that
Correct.
there's always going to be.
And the only thing you can do is advocate for yourself and actually choose to be someone who lives a life of respect and compassion and understanding and equality. We can't control anybody else. All we can do
we
is
can't, and I know that.
and we can only manage ourselves.
Right. Thank you so much for letting me call in.
Oh, well, thank you for calling in.
Appreciate you calling in.
Appreciate it. Hope to hear from you
Bye.
again. Bye.
Take care.
You too. Great.
Okay.
Well, that was awesome. It's something to keep in mind, though, that there are people who are suffering that have disabilities and feel like they're not getting a fair shake in our society and our culture. And we've said it and we'll say it over and again. if people judge us for something that in our lives, that's their problem, not ours. And we can only really stand in our truth and stand for what's right for us, and love and be compassionate and not let it, hurt you and use that as a weapon and grow the bitterness against people. Because I believe, and we've got 3 grandsons that are raised in homes that say equality and love and respect is the rule of the day, without exception. So it's changing.
Yeah,
it's definitely
I think most
changing.
families are that way now. Yeah, exactly. Okay. So we were talking about conscious question today. We were talking about how to deal with ego attack, and again, the tool we were looking at was to stop, drop, and breathe. And again, stopping, dropping into your heart, breathing, and then again, where is this? And what I'm hearing, is it sound like it's coming from my ego, an ego attack, or is it something that's coming from my heart or from a compassionate place? Recognize that triggers that we talked about last week, triggers come from like an external stimuli, and then that brings back an old emotion, an old memory. Ego attack, while still can be triggered by an external stimuli, the ego attack itself comes from within. Okay, it's your ego that's doing the attacking. So it's your self-talk. It's that itty bitty shitty committee in your head that's taking over and driving the bus.
But it'll be most likely from a trigger, like
Very commonly,
often.
exactly.
From
Yeah.
a trigger.
It's a trigger that can trigger not just a feeling or emotion or a battle between two people, but what triggers this self-attack, which is the ego attack.
So we're gonna go.
Yep.
Yeah, we're gonna go into the weekly challenge.
Sure.
Okay. So the weekly challenge is, as you know, a challenge that we've had in our life, and then we share the tools and the skills and the things that we know on how to get through it. And it's really our challenges are to show you that we're not perfect. We face things that we struggle with, and we have to actually use our toolkit all the time. So the challenge then is, it starts with Don and I being, we are completely honest, brutally honest in this relationship, and that's not the challenge. We can be that way because we live by a commitment that we speak of in our coaching, and we share with our couples. It's a couples commitment. And what that means is, I give Don the freedom to speak from his heart about anything and everything that comes up. And I take full responsibility for myself, not to take it personally. I commit not to withdraw, not to attack, not be offended or get mad or check out or dissociate. So we provide that safety for each other in this couples commitment. So what I'm going to share here is what came up really early in our relationship. And Don being open and honest with me, which is what I expect from him. He shared with me that he normally likes gals with dark hair and dark eyes. And dark skin even. That he just finds them very attractive. And I'm none of those. So... So, really, if I, at that time, had a little ego attack of, wow, like, I started to compare myself to dark women with dark eyes and dark skin. So, when I was experiencing that ego attack, right, those limiting beliefs come charging in, like, I mustn't be enough for him. Or he must wish I look different, or he mustn't really love me very much because I don't have those qualities.
Well, I think it's interesting to point out too, or at this point, that I didn't say.
I know, and I'm going to get to that. I'm going to get
to
to that.
Good.
Yeah, and right, and that's when I can go to my heart center and know the truth. He wasn't saying, I don't love you, or you're not enough for me. I'm not attracted. He wasn't saying that. He was saying the opposite. He was just saying, I really like dark-haired, dark-eyed, dark-skinned dark-skinned women.
In the past, I was attracted to them more often, but it's like now I'm thinking, here I am, look how attracted I am to you, right? But how you don't take it that way, because
Right,
the ego steps
because
in.
the ego steps in,
Mhm.
right? And because my past and my life as a child, I had limiting beliefs that what I'm working on constantly. So I had to pull the toolkit out of the kit, the conscious tool, and say, okay, I gotta stop. I gotta drop into my heart, drop the story that was playing on in my head, and realize, and like Dawn said, it's becoming aware in that moment, not going, because the old me without this experience and without all this knowledge would say, well, you're a jerk. That hurt my feelings. But I'm much more conscious than that and aware of what's going on. It was an ego attack. So I have a choice to make. This is nothing about Don or anything that he said. It's about me and my choice. And this is how I handled it. I chose to stop the thoughts in my head and start turning them around. I decided in that moment that what Don said to me didn't mean that he didn't love me or wasn't attracted to me or that I wasn't the girl that he wants to spend his life with. He didn't say that. I started assuming those things and deciding those things. But that's the itty bitty shitty committee, the ego in my mind, right? And that attack. So how that turned out around was I had to go, I am enough. I'm deserving of your love. I will always be enough. I'll be more than enough. And I love who I am, and I know you love who I am too. So, the most interesting thing about this is for the next, oh my gosh, weeks, even in that moment, a woman in the restaurant, the waitress comes to the table, and she is dark and beautiful with dark eyes, dark skin, gorgeous. And it just gave me, and it was like a gift for me to say, wow, she's showing me. She showed up. And I could go right into that place and think, oh, Dawn must think she's more than me. And I'm like, that is not the truth, ego. Thanks, but no thanks, because I'm enough. I always have been enough, and I always will be enough. And you have to break that pattern, because what I was doing is comparing myself to another woman, another person. And so I'm aware of it. And how many times did I have to say those positive affirmations, I am enough? I've always been enough, and I always will be more than enough. Hundreds of times. Every time another dark woman, and many, came into our life. Many. And so it was thousands of times that I had to say it. And even sometimes I'll giggle and the same thing, and it was often a waitress, I don't know why, would come to the table, gorgeous, dark hair, dark eyes, and I would say, wow, this is a great opportunity for me to know my worth. Right?
It even got to the point where we'd be walking down the street or down a hallway, and some beautiful, attractive, dark-haired lady would walk by, and you would just look at me and say, I'm enough. And we would just have a little chuckle and give you a little squeeze in the hand or whatever we were doing, and off we'd go. So,
right. So as you can see in that challenge that we had, and like it had nothing to do with Dawn and had everything to do with me. And even like that caller, right? It has everything to do with ourselves. We can't change society. We can't change our employer. We can't change the people around us. We can't. It's impossible. And if we think blaming them...
We can make our own choices and try and make a difference in any way that we can. But ultimately, everybody still gets to make their own choices for themselves, too. So,
absolutely. And like I said, I had to change my thoughts, right? I had to change a belief that I wasn't lovable, I wasn't accepted by you, or I wasn't enough, and then let it go. And just let it go. And say it over and over and over until I believed it. And then I remember at one of our workshops, there was a really dark, beautiful woman that came to the workshop, spent the whole weekend with us. And I remembered, and she even asked for a ride home. Remember?
Mhm.
And we drove her home. And as we dropped her off and she was walking into her house, I had this moment of like, wow, that was a dark-haired, dark-eyed, beautiful, dark-skinned woman that spent the whole weekend with us, and I never, ever had to check in with myself to be reminded that
Never
I'm
even
enough.
crossed your mind that time,
It
did it?
never even crossed my mind. So that's kind of how you work through it.
Mhm.
That's how you change it, and you change those thoughts, because I had to do the work. That was my work to do.
Mhm.
And so now every dark-haired woman is a gift and a reminder, and that's what it turns into for us.
And again,
So-
it's interesting how the ego will take a statement and twist it
Mhm.
so that your ego can attack you with it, even
Mhm.
though, because what I said was not,
No.
should not have, didn't necessarily need to invoke that,
No.
but what your ego was saying was not what I was saying, right?
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
but the ego will take it and twist it.
Yeah, and I take responsibility for it, right?
Mhm.
And not respond and attack you or blame you or get angry or withdraw or be mad and walk away. No, I just go, okay, what's here for me? What's
Mhm.
here for me to learn about myself?
Great. Okay, so now next question we're going to ask is, or people ask us, is
Yeah.
will I always have ego attacks?
Mhm.
And I mean that's pretty similar to the question, will I always be triggered? Because they're similar in a lot of ways. So will I always be triggered and have these ego attacks? And one of my mentors has said many times, if you're on this earth, you're going to have ego attacks.
Mhm.
And I think that's just something to recognize. But like we discussed last week with the triggers, is that triggers are actually always a growth opportunity.
Mhm.
So as rather than trying to avoid triggers, same thing with ego attacks. If you look at an ego attack as an opportunity for growth and recognize where inside you've got this negative self-talk and the attacks are coming, it's an opportunity to gain some awareness about it, do some work around it, emotional work, whatever needs to be done, so that you can work through it, just like Lisa did with what we just talked about in her challenge with the dark-haired women. And if you work through it, and then you can get it so those triggers don't keep, that same trigger won't keep coming up again. And if you don't take that opportunity, I think what you'll find is you will be dealing with the same ego attacks, and they'll continue to escalate.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, that's the way things work in this situation, is that as these things escalate, because they're actually continually pushing you harder and harder into making the choice to say, I'm actually going to deal with this because it keeps coming up and it keeps coming up. So if you take the opportunity to get the awareness and get the growth, you clear out some attacks, so you might get new ego attacks might show up. But as you work through the ones that are coming up first, you're going to get more grounding. There's more safety and more confidence in what you're doing and how you're doing it, and then that leads to much more satisfaction too in your life. And as these ego attacks come up, you can just start facing them one at a time, and every one gives you what you need to deal with the next one.
And I think we say this over and over. If that situation between Don and I would have played out different, and I thought, he doesn't love me, and I'm going to attack him and be angry, and maybe down the road break up, right? Someone, a new experience is going to come along to teach me the same lesson. I can't get rid of the person or the thing or the experience. I can't push that away. It's there to teach me the lesson.
And
The lesson was mine.
Your ego is still inside you, right?
Yeah.
So it's not going anywhere
It's
until you
mine.
do something with it.
So,
Exactly.
yeah, to get super clear on that, you
Yeah.
know, and that is new thinking. That's not how normally we're taught to believe.
No, not at all.
At all. So it's new thinking and a different way to approach everyday common conflicts. And when we can do that with people, and we do it all the time in our coaching, is we take a situation like that and we unpack it and actually uncover and discover the truth underneath the pain and the conflict. And then it goes away
What's
because
your peace? What's your growth opportunity, right?
and then it changes. I don't think there's a conflict we haven't come across that we haven't been able to go, okay, let's unpack this
it
one
and own our pieces of it
and have a look at it.
Work with them. Yeah.
And help people to do that too.
Mhm.
It happens in families, it happens at work, it happens in friendships, everywhere. So,
Mm-hmm. And again, I just want to reiterate that one more time. When you do take the opportunity to get the awareness and do the growth, that again, you just create more grounding for yourself, and you can just start dealing with the bigger pieces of your ego mind that you can start growing through. Okay, so in our conscious toolkit this week, we want to look at how to make a different choice. If your ego is saying one thing, quite the opposite is most likely the truth. Okay, so that's what we're pulling out of the toolkit today. How do you actually make a different choice? And the tool is, there's that opportunity to make a different choice.
it's a choice.
So how do you do that? Again, like we talked earlier, there is what your ego is saying, or what you're hearing in your mind, the self-talk, is it coming from fear or an attack, or is it compassion and safety?
And love.
And love, exactly. So your ego is going to tell you that you have no choice. You must either attack or blame or be right
Or take it personally.
or control the situation, take it personally, something like that. So that's the ego talking, and that's going to turn into ego attack, and it's going to be self-attack, and or you can also project it outwards. But the fact is, you do have a choice, right? What if you did do the opposite? What if you stopped, dropped into your heart, breathed, recognized it, and said, what if instead of blaming this person, I wondered if I could maybe accept some of that blame? How am I possibly partly at fault in what's going on here?
Why am I taking it so personally?
Or why am I taking it so personally? Is that something from my past, or is it, why would I take it? I don't need to take it personally. The need to be right, because if you have the need to be right, then that means the other person has to be wrong. So you can stop and think, do I have to be right in this situation? Can I actually see what this is coming from this other person? Or controlling the situation. Do you actually have to control the situation, or can you sit back? And the other option is like not doing the opposite, or sometimes doing nothing at all, right? Just saying, I'm not going to jump in and take control of the situation. I'm going to watch it unfold, and maybe I'll learn something new. Imagine that, right? You might actually learn something instead of doing it the same old way over and over again. So that's the again, the tool is to recognize that regardless of what the ego is telling you, you do always have the choice of whether to listen to what the ego is saying, or stop and either do the opposite or do nothing at all, and see how that pans out.
And just sit there and breathe for a minute and go, what's in this for me to learn?
Exactly. Yeah. Anything more to add to that? We're getting close to the end of what we had prepared.
Yeah, no, we can go into, what's coming up for us in our workshops, because we've got some events coming up that we're excited about.
Yeah, the next workshop we have coming up right here in Lethbridge, we mentioned last week too, the 5 Love Languages Explained. That's a Conscious Quest event that we're holding, that's just 2 days from now on Thursday at Hudson's Canadian Pub here in Lethbridge, starting at 6:15. It's $15 per person. You can go find it on Meetup and register there. You can just show up at the door and pay your $15 and come out and join us. It's a fun, interactive way to learn about the 5 love languages and how they impact our relationships.
And the other event we have on the weekend is in Pincher Creek. It's a conscious parenting course that we're offering at the Shanti Hollow Yoga and Retreat Place. And she's hosting us, and we're really excited about that, because then we get to share some of the tools and the skills on how to support kids and stop the yelling and start connecting in your home. And I'm thinking of our caller today too, right? It's the conscious parenting, people getting more conscious of what we teach our kids and how we support our kids.
How we model for our children.
Yes.
Is a big part of it.
Yeah, there's a big part of it. We take responsibility for our own actions and our own moods and how we respond to the world. Because kids will watch what we do. they hear what we say, but they're going to watch what we do. And that's where they're going to learn the truth about how we show up in the world. So we're really excited about that event. It's on Sunday, and it's from 1 till 5 in Pincher Creek. And there's spots available, and it's $60 for one person, and if a couple comes together, it's $100.
So if you need more information, more details, you can get hold of us. Email is info@lifeworksinternational.ca, or you can go to our website, which is lifeworksinternational.ca. And if you want any more details on either the 5 love languages or the conscious parenting. And then we're another one of our Wellness Wednesdays we have happening tomorrow evening at our clinic here in Lethbridge. And it is going to be put on by Dina Lee, and she's with doTERRA Essential Oils, and it's going to be a make and take home something.
Yeah, she's going
to surprise us with
planned.
something. Yeah, she's got it planned out, something that you can learn about essential oils and make something and take it home with you.
Great. So who are we? We are Lifeworks International. We're licensed life coaches and workshop instructors. We offer our services to singles, couples, families. We offer programs and events. And people hire us when they're tired of the struggle and they want to start making the changes to make their life work. And we also, in the corporate world, companies hire us when they're tired of the struggle and they want to work with their staff and improve more balance and commitment and harmony in the workplace.
It's an opportunity to see yourself in a different way. It's an opportunity to see how to deal with challenges in a different way, how to see the people around you and what's going on in the world around you. It's really, it's a real shift in how we look at what's going on around us, and compared to how we've been taught to look at the world and look at ourselves. It's a way of really doing it in a different way.
And what I love about the work that we do is when we put on an event, it's interactive. We don't just sit and lecture. Like there's activities, there's movement, there's exercises, there's times that we work in groups and one-on-one, and there's always lots to take home. Like there's always lots to take home, and we love that because that's what we want. We want to go to an event and we want to take home things that actually can work. I want to take this home and have this work in my family or my business or in my partnership.
And just a new awareness about yourself and what's going on in your life and that. So even just that having the tool, having this more awareness, and then with that awareness, then you can actually start doing deeper work.
And then it's fun too.
Oh, it really is.
It's fun because we start to realize we're all in this together. We all have the same struggles. We all face the same things in our families and our businesses. And if we know how to do better, we would do better. And that's what we're here to do. We'll show you how to do better, to make a life that, or a business, or a partnership that works.
So we always love the aha moments, right? When we're working with people.
Yeah, we love it. It
I
really.
get it. That makes sense.
And people enjoy it. They love to, because we all know that if we knew how to get through conflicts, if we knew how to get through the tough stuff, and we all have tough stuff. There's always the tough things, no matter what relationship, what job, what family you're in, there's tough stuff. And if all we have is the old patterns and the old things that didn't work, we're just going to stay stuck. So we love it. We love to teach new skills. We love to experience them ourselves. We are not without, facing
Our challenges.
Yeah. We sure are. So we've practiced every one of them. And if I might add, made every mistake in the book, so we know how to get through it. We know how to get through it with compassion and love and understanding. And we teach people how to create win-win situations for everyone.
Great.
So this is how we finish the show, is once we become fearless,
Life becomes limitless.
see you next week.
Thanks again for watching.